Good day, Agent. I heard you weren't on a mission, but part of an incident.
Yes. I was part of an incident. The place I work at.
I'm just making sure. When you say the place you work at, you are saying your cover job?
Yes. My cover job where I work at, and then odd hours I work at the coalition.
Can you tell me the reason behind that? There's plenty of jobs right here at the coalition base.
Well, as you know, the coalition is a secret agency, and I can't just put on my tax returns coalition. Otherwise, the IRS might get suspicious and start asking questions, and the coalition might get revealed. Yes, our base is cover position is an animal shelter, but millions of different people can't work at a small animal shelter. So many of our agents are spread around the town at different job sites, working for different groups and different businesses, so that we have, explain our income somehow, explain how we are living and how we are spending. Otherwise, people might get suspicious on where are we working and where we're getting paid from, do some digging and reveal the coalition.
Okay. I understand that. My cover job is actually I'm working for a law firm, a global law firm. That's how I explain the traveling from one country to another country to this country, and so forth and so on.
Nice. Sounds luxurious.
Indeed, business class all the way.
So, like I said, the place I was working at, where I am a technician of the sort, the place I work, where my cover job is, we had our beginning of the year, beginning of the year party, where we usually start the year with a trip somewhere to boost morale and get the people excited for the new year. This year we went to a canoeing company nearby the town, where we went on canoes and we went down the river, and we ended up at the lodge where everyone started for the braai or barbecue. And it was extremely hot, so I went back down to the river to swim, while the rest were sitting and chatting at the lodge. I was busy swimming in the water. So I was mostly swimming, diving under the water, not paying attention around me. Then I suddenly heard this grunt, and I lifted my head from the water, and I just saw these mighty eyes piercing through my soul. These strong, powerful, majestic eyes. And I realized I was staring down a Triceratops bull. And I looked around the riverbed, and I just saw this mighty herd of different Triceratopses. The power these creatures let off was indescribable. The one staring me down closest to the river, I could see he was the alpha bull. and I could see he was the bull, the male, the head of the herd. His horns were the longest, multiple scars around the head area so shows constant fighting. He was in front, which means he was the bravest, the leader, and there were darker coloring of patches around the frill, which means an increase in testosterone, which means an increase in aggression, fighting. A lot of today's animals have such a thing, where a lot of testosterone can have an impact on horn coloring and skin coloring. So I knew this one staring me down was the bull. And he slowly approached the water, constantly keeping his eyes on me, drinking the water. On the ridge, on either side, I think I saw females with cubs, with little ones. They were hopping around their mother's legs, not having a care in the world. I saw more atop the ridge, two other males, I think, just growling, snorting, looking down at the river. A few meters to my right, I saw a mother triceratops with her younglings drinking a little bit of water, and I was, wow, it was, you had to be there to see it, to see, to feel this majestic, godlike power wash over you is amazing. I have seen many wonders in my life. I have seen other dinosaur herds. I have seen titans walk on the ocean floor. I have seen whales bellowing next to me. I have seen the earth from space. I have seen so many wonders in my life, and it still takes my breath away seeing a herd of these majestic, powerful beasts. So I was just awestruck. Every fiber in my being wanted to swim closer just to get a better view of these creatures, to see better, just to you had to have been there just to experience the power. The alpha bull roared a bit, and you felt the vibrations in the water. I felt my heart beating out of my chest. These titans, these wonders of nature, wonders of God. I can't. It was just amazing. I wanted to get close, I just wanted, but luckily my subconscious told me to swim back. These creatures don't know what I am, they don't know this water, they're on edge. So I just kept swimming on the edge of the river opposite of them, just keeping an eye, and I just heard the people from the company and workers at the lodge. I just hear them say, "Look at that! Look at that! What is that? That's a dinosaur! Look at that thing!" And they just started taking pictures of the different triceratopses there. And I was just like, this is going to be a splitting headache to cover up. then I heard helicopters coming over the ridge. And I just waved my hands, gave a hand signal showing that I am agent, I am part of coalition. They flashed a light saying, "We see you, we identify you, we know who you are." So they turned to the Triceratops herds. There were 3 helicopters, I remember. 1 right above me, 2 to the sides, either side of the herd, and started flying out a subsonic pulse, almost like a dog whistle. And the Triceratops herd, could see they were a little bit on edge, didn't know what to do, how to respond, and they started moving away from the river.
How do you mean they were on edge?
Well, the subsonic scream or subsonic pulse is one of the tech we use to dealing with herd animals or large creatures, to herd them away from a general area. And it is a psionic type of boom which causes discomfort to the creatures. I felt bad. Those babies were panicking, they didn't know what to happen, they were like crying from the scream. Yeah, Bull was agitated. He knows those choppers were causing it, and he like roared against the choppers. The mothers were trying to keep the kids near close, and the fathers, the other bulls, were surrounding the herd, trying to protect them. It was heartbreaking to see these creatures in such distress. But with the psionic boost, they started moving away. Apparently a time rift opened up nearby, and this herd wandered out and wandered to the river. Thanks to the helicopter's positioning and movement, we managed to herd them back into the rift.
And what about your company and the lodge workers?
Well, they signaled me to move away from the lodge, to the different side of the river, and then they sprayed this gas. A lot of agents like to call it the Alzheimer's gas. I like to call it the amnestic gas, and others like to call it the alcoholic gas.
Can you please elaborate on the gas?
This type of gas or chemical this type of gas allows people to forget the last few minutes or the last few hours of what happened. And then there's a psychedelic added to the mixture of the gas compound to make people more open to suggestion, so that we can fill in a false memory to replace the memory they lost. So, like for an example, you saw Bigfoot running down the street. You spray with the gas, makes you forget the Bigfoot, and in place of that we say a kid dressed up like a gorilla practicing for Halloween went down the street, therefore making people not believe that they saw Bigfoot, but instead something similar to what they saw. Therefore, if they remembered it, they get it confused with the new memory, the fake memory. Therefore, discarding the memory of Bigfoot and replacing it with the memory of a child that ran with a gorilla suit, which actually never happened. And that's how we most of the time keep the hidden world a secret. But back to my tale. I moved away and I sprayed with the gas on the lodge. Everyone got infected. We said that a herd of buffaloes broken out from the local game reserve and managed to get to the river, and the helicopters were there herding them back.
And what about the pictures?
Yes, the pictures. We have a device, a Bluetooth hacking device that we activate and immediately scan for everyone's phones in the proximity, and through via the Bluetooth enters the phones and then delete the last few pictures of what was taken from their phones, covering up any memory or any evidence of an horizon or abnormal event.
Okay. I can understand. I understand on how everything works. I know you weren't on a mission, but I'd like to keep this going. What went right and why? What went wrong and why? And what would you have changed and why?
What I would have kept was seeing the Triceratopses. They were godlike to see. Breathtaking, unbelievable, amazing. I will never forget those eyes. The eyes of the bull, the majestic power. This feeling of power going through you.
Enough of that, Agent. Focus on the task.
Okay. And then what went wrong was when the Triceratopses had to go.
Agent, focus.
Okay. What went wrong was the time spent to get the choppers getting to the Triceratopses. Judging by the size of the herd, either there was a massive portal, which I doubt because there would have been a massive magnetic field and my phone worked fine, which means there was a small portal, small enough for one, maybe two Triceratopses at a time came through. There was a large herd, which means that portal was open for several minutes, maybe even a couple of hours, causing all those Triceratopses to come through. And the choppers just now got to those Triceratopses. Pathetic timing. It took way too long for a response.
I'll send this up. I'll send your complaint up to the administration team and the tactical response team of the base.
What I would have changed was the response time. Get there early, or get any nearby agents. I was nearby. They could have called me, notified me of the situation, and started moving people away from the lodge. I don't know how or what, but I would have think of something.
All right. That is all I need from you, Agent. I am extremely sad for your part that your experience had to be cut short like that.
Don't be. There's always next time. And that moment was enough for me. That small moment that changed the world, that flipped your entire world on its head. That is the greatest high anyone can get.
Glad to hear it, Agent. I hope in the future your experience, your high as you call it, will be a bit longer. Until we meet again, Agent. I believe that there are some agents waiting for you at the shooting range to renew your shooting license. Best of luck to you, and have a lovely day.
Thanks to you too, Agent. Have a lovely day.